Aloha mai kākou, aloha e nā haumānau, o wau o Kumu Hōkūao, mahalo ia oko no ke kipa ana mai I ka mala o ia hoi o hale uli mau. Aloha, Kumu Hōkūao, welcome to the high school, Kulaki'iki'e mala called hale uli mau. I keia manawa, now I'm going to share with you a little bit about well, first and foremost, the significance of Kalo. Why Kalo is so important to us as Kanaka. We know that we are intimately tied to this plant through our mo'okuauhau, or our genealogy, from Haloa and Haloa Nakalau Kapalili. We know that this plant is one of the most important food crops and has been our staple food for a multitude of generations, hundreds and hundreds of years. Our kupuna also brought this on the va'a with them to Hawaii when they first came here to these islands, because they knew that this crop and kalo or taro was important to their diet. Every part of this mea kanu or plant can be eaten, from the lau to the kalo or the korm. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the parts, the Āpana o ke kalo, or the parts of the different characteristics of this plant, so that you are aware of what it should look like as it begins to grow, through its growth cycle, what to look out for if there might be diseases, and so on and so on. So we're going to start from the top. We're going to start with the lau. Yeah? We call this part, or the leaf, the lau. Now, there's two terms that are used for the leaf. One, when the leaf is on the actual plant, so we call this the lau. But when you take off the leaf, or you pa'i the lau, or take it for use for like lau, or making luau stew or something like that, I'll show you what it looks like here. When you pa'i the lau from a plant, it turns from what we utilize, or we call a lau, to now a luau. And all parts of the kalo has what we call calcium oxalate crystals. It has these this type of these elements inside of it that if you were to take a bite of the leaf or any parts of the kalo raw, you're going to get maneo, you're going to get itchy, you're going to have these kind of tingly feeling down in your throat, your esophagus, and your throat. So aole mai ka'ikela, that's not a good thing. So you have to cook all parts of this plant, including the lau or the leaf, thoroughly. So as we take off the lau and now becomes a luau, we can talk about the different parts of it. And every variety of kalo, of which there were 400 varieties that our kupuna had. Today we're down to about 84 varieties for numerous reasons, but we're not going to talk about that. Each plant has, each variety has different characteristics in terms of its leaf structure, its stem, its stalk, the kalo, even the taste and color of the poi or pa'iai that it makes, that you can make into. So here we have the piko, or the center of the kalo. Most varieties look just like this. This is a mana ulu variety, whereby the piko is in the center of the leaf. But there are other varieties or families of kalo known as the piko family, of which there are 6 varieties, and the Maui, or the ka'elau, or the marginal edge of the leaf, go all the way down to the piko. I believe the varieties that you are going to get are non-piko varieties, so they all should typically look like this. Now, the color of the piko may differ. Some picos are red, some are green, some are pink, some are brown. There's all different colors based on the type of variety. And so as we pa'i the lau, or take off the leaf, you can see on the back, this part we call the Maui, right where the stem meets the leaf. And this is part of the pa, or sometimes known as the stalk. And so when the plant is together like this, we call the stalk a ha. Yeah? Thus the name haloa, long breath, long stalk. Yeah? So here, as the leaves connect down to the stalk, sometimes, depending on the time of year, also depending on the type of variety, your kalo can flower. And we call this, of course, the pua, or pua kalo. In my opinion, the pua has a wonderful fragrance, and again, each variety is going to smell just a little bit different, so keep an eye out for that particular pua if it begins to flower. As you come down the ha, you get to this small convex edge, and it might be kind of hard to tell, but I'll try to scrape away a little bit with my knife. This area, which is important for preparing the kalo for planting, we call this little section here the kohina. And the kohina goes from the base for about 1/4 inch down to right about this line here. And this is an important thing we're going to talk about shortly as we prepare the kalo for planting. As we go down, this is the korm. The korm is the part that we eat, we cook and make poi or pa'i'ai, or eat it as is, like table taro. And so this is the actual, when we talk about kalo, yes, it's the whole plant, but it also refers to the korm. These roots that come off, there's 2 names depending on the size of the root. The long roots and thick roots, we call this the hulu hulu. And the small tendril roots that come out on the side like this, or lateral roots, we call these the a'a. These are the only part of the kalo that you pretty much can't eat, or don't want to eat for that matter. So we're going to move into the next steps on how to prepare a kalo for planting.